As you're listening to this, there's a 73% chance you might be making the biggest mistake of your 20s. And here's the scary part. You probably don't even realize you're doing it. Just picture this, you're 32 years old, sitting in your car after another tough day at a job you're not passionate about. You look in the rearview mirror and ask yourself, how did I end up here? This isn't the life I dreamed of. Does that sound familiar? Here's a little secret that nobody tells you about your 20s. They're not just about finding yourself. They're all about creating yourself. But most people, they're sleepwalking through the most crucial decade of their lives, making choices that aren't really theirs at all. I'm going to show you exactly what this mistake is, why almost everyone falls into this trap, and most importantly, the 3 specific steps you can take to break free from it before it's too late. By the time you're done watching, you'll have a clear roadmap to build a life that's authentically yours, not a carbon copy of someone else's expectation. But first, I want to ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. When was the last time you made a major life decision that was completely your own? Hey, have you ever thought about not letting your parents, friends, society's expectations, or that little voice in your head telling you what to do influence you? Take a moment to think about it. If you're having a hard time answering that question, you're not alone. I totally get it, because I'm also dealing with what's called the borrowed life syndrome. It's a tough one, and it can really mess with your 20s. Here's what's happening. Instead of exploring who you really are and what you're truly capable of, you're following a script written by someone else. Your parents are just trying to keep you safe. Your friends just want you to be able to enjoy life to the fullest, just like they do. Society can make it feel like success looks a certain way, and that happiness looks a certain way, too. If you're not checking these boxes by 30, it might feel like you're failing. So what can you do? It's totally normal to put off the most important work of your 20s, discovering your authentic self and your unique potential. We all do it. It just feels safer to follow the well-worn path everyone else is taking. But here's the thing, that path wasn't designed for you. It was made for the average person, with average dreams, settling for an average life. I know you're a unique and special person, and you know it too. I'll tell you about Sarah. She's a brilliant 27-year-old I met last year. She spent her 20s climbing the corporate ladder in finance because her father thought it would be a good idea. She was doing really well for herself. She was making 6 figures, had a corner office, and drove a luxury car. But she was miserable. Why? She'd always been passionate about sustainable architecture, but she'd buried that dream under layers of other people's definitions of success. Or think about Marcus. He spent his 20s trying to become the entrepreneur his college friends expected him to be. He started business after business, but none of them felt right. He was too afraid to admit that he actually loved teaching and wanted to work with kids. I know how hard it is to live a life that's not your own, and I want you to know that you don't have to do that. Every day you spend living someone else's version of your life is a day you're not building your own. And the clock, it's ticking. But why is this happening? I'm curious. Why are so many brilliant, capable people in their 20s making this same devastating mistake? The answer lies in 3 powerful psychological forces that most people never learn to recognize, let alone overcome. First, there's what psychologists call social proof. That's our brain's shortcut that says, if everyone else is doing it, it must be right. Your brain is wired to follow the crowd because, for thousands of years, being rejected by the group meant death. When you see your classmates choosing similar career paths, getting married at similar ages, and buying similar things, it's only natural to feel a bit overwhelmed. Your brain might tell you to follow the crowd and do the same things they do. It's safe. But here's the thing. What's safe for survival isn't always what's best for your soul. Next up is authority bias. Do you remember being a kid and believing everything your parents and teachers told you without question? That same mechanism is still running in your adult brain, and it's there to help you stay calm and centered. When your parents tell you to be practical, or when society says that successful people do things a certain way, it's only natural to feel like they know more about your life than you do. But think about it. How can anyone else possibly know what's right for your unique combination of talents, passions, and dreams? Third, and this is the big one, there's loss aversion. Your brain is hardwired to fear losing what you have more than it desires gaining something better. I know that starting over can be scary. I've been there, and I understand how it feels to be so attached to your current path, even if it's not making you happy. I also understand how scary it can be to risk the progress you've made. But here's something your brain might be having a hard time understanding. I know that the hardest part isn't starting over, but not even getting started. These three forces can sometimes feel like they're holding us back, creating what I like to call the comfort zone prison. I know you're not happy where you are, and I understand that it's scary to leave that behind because the unknown can feel so scary. And the most insidious part, this prison is so open and airy, you might not even notice the bars. It's made of what-ifs, what should I do as, and what will people think. You can't break free until you realize you're in it. So how do you know if you're trapped? How can you tell if you're making this massive mistake with your 20s? Let me walk you through the warning signs. I want you to be totally honest with yourself as we go through these steps, because recognizing something is the first step to freedom. Sign number 1, the Sunday night dread. I know how it is when you're thinking about the week ahead and you feel this heavy weight in your chest on a Sunday evening. Your friends say it's normal, that everyone feels this way about Monday morning. But my dear, ask yourself, is it really worth spending over 40 hours a week doing something that makes you feel so unhappy? The second sign is the comparison trap. It's totally normal to sometimes feel like you're comparing your life to others, their careers, relationships, achievements, and even their Instagram posts. Here's the thing, when you're living your authentic life, other people's paths become interesting rather than intimidating. Hey, we all know that feeling when you compare yourself to others. It's like you're not on your own path, right? Sign number 3, the energy drain. When you come home from work or social events, you might feel completely depleted. You're not just tired, you're drained. It's as if something inside you has been slowly leaking out all day. This isn't just a little tiredness, it's the exhaustion that comes from living against your natural grain. The fourth sign is the maybe later syndrome. You have dreams, interests, or goals that you're kind of putting off to a future date. You tell yourself, I'll write that book, start that business, travel to that place, learn that skill later. I'm sure that when life is more stable, we'll be able to make those changes. When you have more money, you can go back and do that. When the timing is perfect, it's like magic. But you know, perfect timing is something that's always just out of reach. And someday isn't a day of the week. It's an idea that's always just around the corner. Sign number 5, the identity crisis. When someone asks you to describe yourself, it's natural to think first about your job, your relationship, and where you went to school. But what if those things were stripped away? Do you ever wonder who you are deep down, beyond all the labels we put on each other? The 6th sign is all about being dependent on advice. You might find yourself turning to others for guidance when making big life decisions. It's not that they don't have any input, but they really need that external validation to make important choices. When did you start trusting other people more than yourself when it comes to your own life? And now, the grand finale, sign number 7, the nagging question. In those quiet moments, you find yourself wondering, is this all there is? Is this really my life? I know it might feel like anxiety or ingratitude, but I'm here to tell you that it's actually your authentic self trying to wake you up. If you recognized yourself in 3 or more of these signs, you're not alone. And best of all, you're not stuck. But you've got to take action now, because the more you wait, the more the life you're meant to live will slip away. The good news is that I'm about to show you exactly how to turn this around. Here's the truth that might surprise you. Finding your authentic path isn't about some mystical journey of self-discovery that takes years. It's about 3 specific, actionable steps you can start implementing today. And I'm going to give you the exact framework that has helped hundreds of people break free from their borrowed lives. Step 1. The archaeological dig. Your authentic self isn't something you need to create, it's something you need to uncover. It's been buried under years of other people's expectations, societal programming, and fear-based decisions. Here's what you're going to do. Go ahead and grab a piece of paper and then divide it into 3 columns. In the first column, please write what energizes me. It's not what you might expect, but it will give you the energy you need. Maybe it's solving complex problems, helping people, or creating something beautiful with your hands. It's always good to be specific. When do you lose track of time? Hey, I'm curious. What activities make you forget to check your phone? In the second column, write what comes naturally to me. These are the things you're naturally good at, the things people compliment you on, the things that come easily to you but are challenging for others. Don't dismiss them just because they feel effortless. It's so often the case that the gifts we're given are the ones that feel the most natural, the ones we don't even think twice about. In the third column, please write what bothers me about the world. I know this might sound a little strange, but your frustrations are actually a sign that you're on the right path. What problems do you see that others seem to ignore? What makes your blood boil when it comes to injustices? What inefficiencies do you find frustrating? These irritations are often clues to where you're meant to make an impact. Can you tell me about the intersection of these three columns? That's where your authentic path begins to emerge. Step 2. The reality laboratory. Now, here's where things get really interesting, testing your discoveries in the real world. Here's the thing, we can't just think our way into our most authentic life. We have to experiment and try new things to find it. Take it one step at a time. If your archaeological dig has made you realize that you're passionate about teaching others, it might be a good idea to hold on to your job for now. Instead, why not volunteer to train new employees at work? Why not start your own YouTube channel? Here's a great idea. Offer to teach a friend a skill you have. Go ahead and create mini experiments. They're a great way to learn and they're pretty low risk. If you've got a knack for making people feel at ease, why not organize a meetup? Hey, why not plan some fun events for your friend group? If you're able, try to find projects at work that involve working with others. The secret to success is running a few experiments at the same time. It's totally normal to feel like you're putting all your eggs in one basket sometimes. But when things don't work out the way you'd hoped, it's easy to think you're wrong about yourself. Finding your path is a lot like dating. You've got to try different approaches to see what truly fits. It's always a good idea to document everything. What gave you energy? What made you feel so overwhelmed? What felt natural versus forced? You're doing the important work of gathering data about yourself, and this data is more valuable than any career counselor's advice. Step 3. The courage bridge. It's totally normal to feel a bit lost here, but it's also where you need to be most intentional. You've done your archaeological dig, you've run your experiments, and now you have clarity about what your authentic path looks like. But there's a gap between where you are now and where you want to be. I like to think of this gap as the courage bridge. It's something you can build one decision at a time. Start with something I like to call alignment actions. These are small daily choices that will gently guide you towards the life you were meant to live. If your true path involves creativity, but you're in a corporate job, try spending 30 minutes each morning on creative work before anyone else wakes up. If you're passionate about helping people but find yourself in a technical role, why not try volunteering one evening a week? These actions are for 2 reasons. They're there for you every step of the way, helping you stay connected to your true self as you navigate these changes. They'll be your support system as you develop the skills and connections you need to find your true path. Now, I want to talk about something that's really important. I call it courage deadlines. Give yourself specific dates by which you'll take bigger steps. In 6 months, you'll be in a great place to have that important conversation with your parents about your goals. Maybe in a year, you'll make the career change. In 2 years, you'll be fully living your authentic life. When there are no deadlines, someday can feel like it will never come. Remember, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of fear. My dearest friend, I know that everyone who has ever truly lived their life has had to cross this bridge. The only difference between those who do and those who don't. The people who do it are the ones who feel the fear and take action anyway. But what happens when you actually do this work? Have you ever thought about what happens when you stop living someone else's life and start living your own? I'd love to show you what's possible when you break free from the life trap you're in. First, you'll experience what I call energy abundance. Do you remember how we talked about feeling exhausted a lot? When you're on the right path for you, it just disappears. It's not that the work becomes easy. Being authentic often means going against the grain, but rather it's about aligning with the flow instead of fighting it. People will start asking you where you get your energy from because you'll seem more alive than before. I'm happy to tell you about Sarah. She's the finance professional I mentioned earlier, and she made the transition to sustainable architecture. She shared with me, I didn't realize how much energy I was using up trying to be someone I'm not until I stopped doing it. Now, I wake up excited about my work instead of dreading it. Second, you'll develop what researchers call intrinsic motivation. You'll be driven by internal satisfaction rather than external validation, and that's a great thing. This means you'll be less anxious about other people's opinions, less devastated by setbacks, and more resilient in the face of challenges. When you're doing work that matters to you, criticism becomes feedback rather than an attack. And finally, you might be surprised, but this will make you even more attractive to others. Romance is just one part of the equation. Being authentic is so attractive. You'll be amazed at how you'll attract wonderful friends, incredible opportunities, and amazing collaborations. Why? Because authenticity is magnetic. When you stop trying to be what everyone else wants, you start attracting people who want exactly what you naturally are. Marcus, who had never thought of himself as an entrepreneur, discovered his passion for teaching while running a nonprofit educational program for underprivileged kids. He might be making a bit less money than he was when he was an entrepreneur, but he told me, "I've never felt more successful in my life. It's been so nice to have so many opportunities come my way. I'm finally doing what I'm meant to do, and it feels so good." Fourth, you'll find yourself entering what psychologists call flow states more often. These are those magical moments when you're so absorbed in what you're doing that time seems to stop. You're fully present, completely engaged, and operating at your highest level. When you're on your authentic path, flow becomes your natural state rather than a rare occurrence. But perhaps the most profound benefit is what I call regret immunity. When you're 50, 60, 70 years old, you won't be haunted by the question, "What if?" You'll be glad you had the courage to be yourself. You'll know because you chose to find out while there was still time. And here's something beautiful that happens. Your courage inspires other people to be courageous too. Your authenticity is like a beautiful ripple effect, creating connections and positive change that you might not even see. The people in your life, your friends, your family, maybe even your future children, will be influenced by the example you set. When you choose to live authentically, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the world in ways you can't imagine. But my dear, the window for this transformation isn't open forever. Your 20s are the perfect time to make these changes because you have the energy, the neuroplasticity, and the fewer obligations that come with later decades. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. It's not impossible, but it does get a bit more challenging. So here we are at the moment of truth. Now that you've learned this, you're in a great position to help others avoid the biggest mistake people make in their 20s, living someone else's life instead of discovering and pursuing their own authentic path. You get why this trap is so tempting and why it's so common. You've learned to recognize the warning signs in your own life, which is a great thing. I'm so happy to tell you that you have a concrete, 3-step framework to start building the life you're actually meant to live. But knowledge without action is just entertainment. I really need you to understand something important. No one's going to come and save you from a life you've borrowed. Your parents, your friends, your employer, they're all doing their best. But we all have our own agendas, our own fears, and our own ideas of what success looks like. Who's the one who really, truly cares about your happiness? That's you, and you're doing great. And the person most capable of creating that authentic life. And you too. The 3 steps I've given you aren't just suggestions. They're your roadmap out of the comfort zone prison, and I'm here to help you find your way. The archaeological dig is a journey of self-discovery, reminding you of the authentic you, the one who's been shaped by life's influences. The reality laboratory is here to show you what that looks like in practice, and the courage bridge will get you from where you are to where you belong. But here's what I need you to remember. It's not about finding the perfect path right away. It's about starting to walk your own path instead of following everyone else's. It's about making choices that reflect your true self, not the person you think you should be. Your 20s are not a dress rehearsal, and it's okay to feel a bit overwhelmed. This is your actual life happening right now. I know how hard it is to find your own path to success when you're living someone else's version of it. But I want you to know that every day you spend living someone else's version of success is a day you're not building your own version of fulfillment. I'd like to leave you with a thought to ponder. What if you knew you couldn't fail? I'm curious. What if you stopped worrying about what other people thought about your answer? The person you're meant to become is waiting for you to be brave enough to meet them. The life you're meant to live is waiting for you to be courageous enough to claim it. Your 20s are a time of so many opportunities, and it's important to be careful of the pitfalls along the way. But now you know which is which. Now you know how to avoid the biggest mistake and seize the greatest opportunity of this decade. The choice is yours. It has always been this way. What are you going to do with that power?